Hey traders, what's up? This is the watch list video for Thursday, April 21st. The daily chart on the SPY, we had that big day yesterday. Today, a gap up in kind of a narrow range. We'll glance at the intraday. There's the gap up and really just chop sideways all day. Um, so not a great environment, but we still found some pretty good stuff in chat. And if you're not aware, Tesla reported after hours. I'm pretty sure that one's up. But anyway, so a couple highlights from chat. We had, if you remember the video last night, for those of you that didn't make it into chat today, we had BRCC on Bounce Watch. Took this screenshot. These are 5-minute candles. This was the opening high, which I believe was $18.90. Put in an intraday cup and handle. And this is the actual screenshot of what I put in chat. BRCC bounce play idea over 1890, which is over the early high of day, right? And you had the cup and handle. This would be the first afternoon high of day break since it was $34. Whether it works or not, this is a good setup because I love that bounce play setup. And so there's the break and pretty quickly to almost 20, and it ended up going up a little farther than that, BRCC. So take today's candle out of it. That's what it looked like, right? So it was a big move and then like 4 or 5 days straight down. Pretty good setup for a bounce play. And there was the trigger to get long right there. And we ended up getting up, slightly over $1 at its best. But it was a pretty low risk trade, pretty high probability trade. I love that setup. Also in our video last night, we had LGVN. Here's the thing. I said, I'll take today's stuff out of it. And if you remember in the video, I'll pan out a little bit here. I said it was pretty interesting over the 1050 area, right? It hit it about approximately here, and this is going back about 5 days. So then let's fast forward to today, and it hit 1050 right here, but I didn't call it long. It was in just a quiet volume. Here it broke the early high. I did get a PM from somebody in chat room who took the quiet entry right there. I didn't take it, but remember, I liked it over 1050. But it just didn't give me any kind of a setup, and it had come too far too fast when it got to 1050. But then it did give a setup. So it ends up doing a really, see the volume that came in? So it ends up breaking 11 and then coming back. And then as it started to curl up, I called the second mouse to 11, right? It had already broken 11 once. The second mouse, now if we break the whole number, we've got another catalyst just above the earlier high, right? So wait for it. There's the 11 break and never really looked back. And I got a screenshot here too to show you. That was the post I put in the chat room. LGVN second mouse 11, and once it broke 11, it was off to the races. So there's a couple highlights from today. I also called a trade in SBFM, which worked, but not really worthy of a highlight reel. I also called MDVL as a Tokyo. Go to 2-minute candles here. But I see that volume that came in. I probably called it right about here, which was a penny or two above the high of day. So I was a little bit late if you want to be a pure play Tokyo player. But if you didn't mind buying a penny or two higher and got it around 280, it ended up giving a pretty nice move to 315-ish. So there's some highlights from today. I had a nice day. Anyway, what are we watching for tomorrow? Speaking of MDVL, I do want to keep an eye on this one. I don't love it now. Because you got like 3 topping tails in a row. But it's also, switching to 15s, it's also made some pretty good intraday moves over the past week or so. So, again, the topping tails bother me a little bit, but I'm going to keep it on watch. CYRN, this is not a pretty chart, but had big volume yesterday. And the range was 275 to 360, but gave almost all of it back. And then today showed some strength again and topped out at 329. So, seems to be finding buyers. Maybe it bottomed right here. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. It's a lower float stock. LGVN, already talked about this one. Had this nice break out of a base. And so you've got support below. It closed well off of its highs, though. But I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it for an A-plus setup tomorrow. Remember, I'm in cash every night. So these are hopefully some stocks that will give me a trade tomorrow. SBFM, I already mentioned this one. The only reason I'm going to watch it, maybe it gaps up tomorrow, but topped out at exactly 450 today. So it's a half number. We like half numbers and whole numbers. And yesterday's high is only 8 cents above that. So now we've got a potential half number inflection point with another catalyst just 8 cents above. But it all depends on how it opens tomorrow, if it gives any kind of setup. But deserves a chart, in my opinion. BRCC, talked about this one too. Gave back a lot of the intraday pop, but at the same time, it did seem to find support and closed above its open. So maybe it has a follow-through day on the bounce that it put in today. It's a less powerful setup, in my opinion, than the one coming into today, but I am going to have it on a chart. IMTE, just another one. Now today, by the way, I talked about this in the video last night. Today, it broke its early high. There's its early high, 15-minute candles. Broke it, I think, right there. And really didn't do much. It broke that high like 30 minutes later, and then straight sideways. So we didn't get that afternoon high of day break. We got kind of a late morning high of day break and then choppage. So I'm not in love with it. I mean, look at this. This chart's ridiculous, but I'm going to put it on watch for another day, for one more day. BWV. See, this one I like an afternoon high of day break on this one too, because ever since it was 60, I don't think you have an afternoon. See the vertical lines of the opening print. I don't think you have an afternoon high of day break. You had a morning high of day break here. We caught a nice trade in that in chat. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Yesterday, no, 2 days ago, I think this was, topped out at 628, and in the afternoon went to 625. So it looked like we were going to get an afternoon high of day break, and we didn't. Then the next day, we still put in its high early, right? But here's the thing that bothers me about it. Today, put in its high at 618, and I don't know, it was midday. It really wasn't afternoon, but it did break that. I didn't jump in here. Matter of fact, I was out of the room when I came back. I saw this and this. I was like, wow, what happened there? Certainly had nice volume, but that bothers me that you kind of had the morning was over and it broke the high of day on volume and just failed. So this one feels, weaker than most, but I will keep it on a chart. Speaking of ugly charts, GNS, again, it's only been trading for 6 days, but we haven't had that afternoon breakout on this one either. And so it goes right back on bounce watch. It's certainly oversold, right? ATER, let me pan out a little bit so you can get a better look at this one. A recent high flyer had a huge move here, and now you've got 2 nasty red days in a row, but it is down to that close to the 20-day. It's in a pretty good spot for a potential bounce tomorrow. VERU, also putting this one on bounce watch. It hit the 8-day today. ATNM, this one's just, ever since this gap up here, it's just been coiling. But I love it over 750. Maybe we'll get some kind of volume spike in it where we can get a Tokyo before 750. But it's going on a chart. And then lastly, SEV. Nice job by Kevin P, who pointed out the volume spike in this one. Probably when it was right about here, anybody could have got involved. I left after the market closed, or I might have hung around to see if this got back up through 8 and after hours. And it did, by the way. It went back through 8 and I think went to 9. So there's an example of something that's a recent high flyer, gets a really late day pop, so shorts are kind of in trouble. A lot of times you get that short covering in after hours. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. Hopefully some of you in chat stuck around and nailed that one. But anyway, it's still an interesting chart. Big pop and then an inside day. We're going to watch that one tomorrow. We'll add other gappers to the pre-market list tomorrow morning. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm done babbling. I'll see you guys in the chat room tomorrow.